This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Well, Conrad, I think I'm living my best life.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, I am. And I think I can thank you for that, for the beginning of that. We came out of Chicago. I haven't spent 10 days away from the house in a long time, but I did in Chicago and then going to Cincinnati. And in retrospect, when I look back at it, I'm thinking, wow, this was some great stuff. This was a great time to be a wrestling fan. I've said that many times, said it on the air, but really it's a great time just to be me. I'm enjoying everything that I'm doing right now, and thank you for that. And thanks for everybody. So how you doing? How are you? I'm damn good. Thanks for asking.
Man, I'm great. I'm excited that we have Top Guy Weekend and Low Key Big Hog Weekend in the rearview mirror. I feel like we exceeded expectations. If you haven't already, make plans to join us next year. Let me explain. Over at adfreeshows.com and of course at patreon.com/WHW Monday, you get our shows early and ad free. Now on the ad free side, you get every single show, but on WHW, you get the Tony Schiavone experience, which doesn't include nearly as much dog hair as you imagine. But the idea is you get our shows early and ad free. You get some bonus content. You get some interactive stuff. So you get to Zoom with Tony or Zoom with some of your favorite hosts. And we try to overwhelm you with content. And I think we do a pretty good job there, but we have a tippy top tier where if you're a top guy or a low key big hog, yes, it costs a little more money. What you're really investing in is one superstar studded weekend. So this past week, as we're talking now, we had one of the biggest, if not the biggest AEW pay-per-view of all time. And we thought, hey, you know what? They're going to run TV, the new Rampage show on Friday nights on TNT, then have a day off and then the big pay-per-view. I think we should fill that day off with fun shenanigans. And boy, did we. So we went to the old Starrcast hotel. We got things kicked off on Friday night. We did a little mean tweet receipts. Well, first of all, we did a happy hour, and everybody who came got a loaded gift bag, just loaded down with a ton of really cool swag that you couldn't find anywhere else. And then after that was done and everybody had made some cocktails, because yes, we had bartenders, and everyone had checked out the real butterfly robe from the A&E special, the actual Ric Flair robe that he wore at the 92 Rumble. You could also check out the big gold belt, the old NWA tag titles, both of Kurt Angle's TNA titles, and even the WrestleMania 17 winged eagle, or big eagle rather, the Rock Austin belt from the main event. And then everybody settled down in their socially distanced tables. And I'll be darned if we didn't have mean tweet receipts with myself and Jeff Jarrett. We followed that up with a very entertaining Eric Fires Back, this time with video clips, so Eric could see the video and then fire off on the guys. And then we had a really cool session where we got to do a Rampage watch along. So we watched the live event, gave away some cool prizes, and then Mike Chioda did a mailbag where he just let it rip, Tater Chip, and told all kinds of stories that we probably should never air. And then we did a little thing called Rebels Karaoke, but it wasn't just Rebel, was it, Tony?
We it was a lot of people, a lot of AEW stars showed up. I was completely, Rebel and I were completely shocked. We had invited a lot of people and we had made our way over from the venue, the Now Arena. We'd made our way over. It was in the car. It was me and Rebel, I think Britt, and maybe somebody else, just a couple of us. And Rebel and I were talking. We don't know who's going to show up. All of a sudden, in the side door there where all the talent came through, they just kept coming through. We're talking Orange Cassidy, Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. Brian Cage showed up. Ricky Starks. Yeah, Ricky Starks. Powerhouse Hobbs showed up. I'm going to miss a lot of people, I know, but they just kept filing in and filing in and filing in. And
the Dark Order, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus. Yes.
Right.
Well, Tony Khan himself.
Tony Khan himself. It's like, wow. And Rebel was so thrilled She looked at me. She said, "You're the reason these people showed up." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Yes, you ask all these people to show up and they responded because they respect you." I said, "Listen, they showed up because they love you. And they showed up because there was free booze."
Well, yeah,
It's
we
like,
promoted free booze in the green room, and boy, did we deliver.
yeah,
So we partied so late Friday night that the city had to shut us down
mm,
about, I don't know, 1:30 or so, but it was a tremendous time. And then we got early start the next morning with the Kurt Angle show, doing live Q&As. And then it was time for something special. What happened when live?
mhm.
And we watched, which we're going to watch here next month, where Dusty Rhodes was attacked by the Horsemen in the parking lot of Jim Crockett Promotions, where they broke his arm. Make it good. Many of us remember that.
Right.
But you and I didn't do that show. It was you and a very special guest, right?
David Crockett showed up and did the show with me. And David was in such a great mood, was so happy to be there, and was so nice to everybody. I got a lot of feedback about David being there, about how great it was to meet David and how happy they were to meet him, how nice he was to everybody. And it was great. It was great being with David again, being on the stage with him and looking at the show. And I don't think David worried so much about watching the show, just talking to everybody. It
It
was
was
great.
tremendous. He
Yeah.
had such a great time, and he was such a joy to spend the weekend with in the backstage area. Then we took a quick lunch break, and then it was time for grilling JR Live. But again, who wants Conrad when you can have a very special guest? We had
Mm,
Jerry the King Lawler. And
right.
I don't know, given everyone's contractual status, that we'll ever see another JR and the King live show. Of course, in another world, in another time and place, they did that show all over the country.
Yeah.
But these days, it was a double secret probation type of deal, but we pulled it off, and Jerry Lawler was there as a special surprise. But the surprises weren't done. At 4:15, we started the Arn Show live, and of course, we wanted to talk about old school tag team wrestling. Well, who better to do that with Arn than FTR? Special guest surprise, FTR. Then a quick dinner break. Then it was time for My World Live, and unbelievably, we had Jeff Jarrett and Scott D'Amore in the same room for the first time since they sat across from each other in a courtroom.
Wow.
Oh, what a tangled web we weaved. But man, Scott D'Amore perhaps stole the show. He is like a baby Bruce Pritchard with his storytelling ability. And mark my words, he will have a hugely successful podcast one day when he's no longer the executive at Impact Wrestling. But really process that. Tony Khan stopped by. David Crockett stopped by. Scott D'Amore stopped by. So the guy who runs AEW, the guy who runs Impact, and the guy who helped run Jim Crockett Promotions, which we're about to watch. But as if that wasn't enough, then we did an after hours watch along. That was our big finish, our big finale. And the big surprise was Mark Madden. Oh, Mark Madden joined us. And by us, I mean Eric Bischoff and Tony Schiavone to watch the final War Games where Sting was Surfer Sting, that famous angle from September of 1996 as we here at the 25th anniversary. And then what do you know? The former Big Show, aka the Giant, aka Paul White, came out. How about that?
Yeah, that was pretty exciting. We watched his match too, I do believe, from that show.
That's exactly right.
And so we had Paul come out. Paul was in a great mood and was very, very receptive. And then we did something very special after that.
It was time for an adoption ceremony.
Yeah. Well, our good buddy, Brooke Baucom, who has been such a big supporter of ours, she really has. Her and her knucklehead husband, who she probably got at a dime store, Patrick, had been there all weekend. And Brooke had always said to me, she said, I really want to be adopted by the Schiavone family. And I said, I just got an idea. You know what? I think we're going to adopt her. And she had told me that her mother, who's no longer with us, and she and her mother used to watch wrestling together when she was younger. And Sting was her mom's biggest. She loved Sting. So I talked to Steve about it, and Sting said, absolutely, sure. So we adopted her. I adopted her officially. And then I said, we need a godfather, and Sting walked out. And it was a pretty special moment for me because of how much I love Brooke and Patrick, and she just obviously she was overcome with joy. So it was a great moment. I thought I really did, and I just think that that moment kind of encapsulates what Top Guy Weekend slash Big Loki Big Hog Weekend is all about, and that is that we have through this podcast developed not fans but friends.
Yes.
We've become a community. We've gotten to know people. We've as big a shithead as Adam DeMoy can be. He was there and was great. And my daughter even said, "You know that Adam DeMoy is a troll on Patreon, but he is really a nice guy." I said, "Yeah, he's one of us. We're all fans, and we share this common bond, this love for wrestling." And this podcast that we do, What Happened When, which by the way, we're heading towards our sixth season in
Come on.
January. In January to be our sixth season. This podcast and especially the Patreon channel and the top ad-free shows has put us all together. As you and I are talking right now, I did a Zoom call last night and we just stayed on there for an hour and a half. And I just go around the table, ask them what's going on in their lives, and they tell me, and we talk and comment back and forth. And so we've developed a family, lack of a better term, friendship. And I just think that adopting Brooke was a good way to end it all. Just let everybody know how close we are. So what a wonderful time. Memorable, really memorable moments. You know, they're going to say to me years from now, if I'm alive, they're going to say to me, "Do you remember, what do you remember about that weekend in Chicago?" I'm going to say, I'm going to remember the surprises like Ruby Soho, like Adam Cole, and like Brian Danielson. And I'm going to remember adopting Brooke Balcom. So those are moments that are going to stand out to me. So that's how special this whole weekend was.
Make plans to join us. Tony, I haven't even told you this, but I've already started the wheels in motion for next year's location.
Oh,
I know originally we had said, "Hey, you're going to come here to Huntsville," but I think people had such a good time with our setup. I thought, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we started to tinker a little bit, and I'm working on some quotes and some strategies for next year. Here's the thing though, guys. You can't just wait until we announce it and say, "Okay, now I want to upgrade. I want to be a top guy, or I want to be a low key big hog." Go ahead and make plans now and upgrade and join us next year. I feel like I should mention too, there were no new monies exchanged. When you came to this thing, you didn't need your wallet unless you were planning on drinking some alcoholic beverages, you know. Otherwise, you're good to go. It's not like you're standing in line and here's my ticket where I paid to meet Sting, or here's my ticket where I paid to, you know, have a conversation with David Crockett. No, you're part of the club, man. There's no money exchanged. And, we're just tickled that we were able to give such a cool experience. The feedback I saw was incredible. People were routinely saying this was the best wrestling weekend of their life because it started with I'm going to brag on us a little bit, our great event. And then it finished with what a really special pay-per-view you guys put together that Sunday. And, we're excited to be back with you today. This past week, I put episode 3 in the can. Of course, we started conversations with Conrad with Jim Hurd. And then our follow-up effort was with Jim Crockett. And we deviated. It is not a Jim, but number 3 is in the can, and we hope to have that out in the next month or so. Now it's time to get to editing. It'll probably be a 2-parter. It ran just under 4 hours, but I think when we splice some stuff in, we'll be at that 4-hour mark. So we should have 2 good little sit down interviews for a part 1 and a part 2 coming your way sooner rather than later, Tony.
All right. Can't wait.
One more favorite story is of this past week is I found myself in an unenviable position. I had to ride in the same car with Dave Silva, but it gets even worse. He had to drive.
Oh
now,
my God.
I've learned from my mistakes. It's not my car. It's his car. So if we're going to, play bumper cars, at least there's no paperwork on my end.
Right.
But Dave is not exactly sure where we're going. He put it in his navigation system, not in his car, but on his phone, which is fine. And Dave's driving. I'm riding shotgun. And the voice comes on, turn left in 500 feet. Turn left in 400 feet. Turn left in 300 feet. Turn left in 200 feet. Turn left in 100 feet. Turn left now. And then Dave says, "Oh shit, was that it?"
What?
Turn left in 500 feet. Turn left in 400 feet. Turn left in 300 feet. Turn left in 200 feet. Turn left in 100 feet. Turn left now. God damn it. Was that it? Dave, did it fucking sneak up on you? Well, you didn't say anything. This fucking phone gave you 7 warnings. It even said now. Turn left now. And you kept going and you're like, was that it? This is what it's like to ride with.
In the future, we ought to be able to take Siri or whomever is on your phone and be able to say whatever we want them to say. As well, you can kind of, but turn left now, you stupid motherfucker, would have been good, and maybe it'd have woken him up.
Maybe it should have been in Spanish and he would have got it.
Never know. Here's the national television the national champion, by the way.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.